Let's imagine, just for a moment, that you somehow ended up on Jupiter. No, not orbiting above it in a fancy space station, not watching it safely through a telescope. I mean standing, or rather trying to stand, right on what we might call the surface of the largest planet in our solar system. No suit, no ship, just you, gravity, and a whole lot of atmosphere. How long would you last? Here's the short answer. About 1 second, give or take. But if that answer satisfied you, you wouldn't be here. To truly understand why you'd die, and how spectacularly fast it would happen, we need to talk about what Jupiter actually is. Spoiler, it's not a place you can walk on. Jupiter isn't a rocky planet. It's a gas giant, meaning there's no solid surface in the traditional sense, just layer after layer of dense atmosphere, swirling storms, and crushing pressure, all wrapped around a mysterious core that no one's ever seen. Now let's say, for the sake of argument, that a magic elevator dropped you into Jupiter's upper atmosphere and left you there floating like a balloon. At first, it might not seem too bad. The upper layers of Jupiter's atmosphere are mostly hydrogen and helium, similar to what stars are made of. There's even some ammonia in there, which smells awful but isn't immediately lethal. You'd be surrounded by pale clouds and strange light, kind of beautiful, actually. And then you'd start to fall. There's no ground to land on, remember? Just more gas, getting thicker, denser, hotter. Gravity would pull you down at terrifying speed. Jupiter's gravity is 2.5 times stronger than Earth's, so you'd feel your own weight increase drastically. Your knees would buckle. Breathing would be impossible anyway, since there's no oxygen. But even if you held your breath, your lungs would collapse long before you ran out of air. And that's just the beginning. As you fall deeper, the atmospheric pressure increases exponentially. At a depth of about 100 kilometers below the top of the clouds, the pressure is already 10 times what we feel on Earth. Your body, being mostly water and soft tissue, wouldn't hold up. You'd be crushed like a paper cup under a hydraulic press. Bones, pulverized. Organs, flattened. Your body would implode before you even had time to process what was happening. But let's say, through the magic of science fiction, that you had some sort of indestructible suit that protected you from pressure and let you breathe. How long could you last then? Not much longer, because now you have to deal with the temperature. The deeper you go, the hotter it gets. Near the upper cloud layers, it's cold, around -145 degrees Celsius. But as you descend, temperatures soar to hundreds, then thousands of degrees Celsius. By the time you're halfway to the core, you're in a furnace hot enough to melt metal. Jupiter's core temperature, estimated at 24,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. So, to recap, no oxygen, no ground, crushing pressure, extreme temperatures, and just for fun, let's not forget about the radiation. Jupiter has an incredibly powerful magnetic field, way stronger than Earth's. It traps radiation in massive belts around the planet. Belts so intense that NASA has to specially shield its spacecraft to survive even a brief flyby. For a human, unshielded, it would fry your DNA within seconds. Long-term effects? Don't worry, you won't last that long. Now here's the kicker. Even if you could survive the pressure, the heat, the radiation, and the lack of oxygen, you'd still never reach anything solid. Scientists believe that deep beneath Jupiter's dense atmosphere lies a superheated metallic hydrogen layer, a weird, liquidy metallic state caused by intense pressure. Beneath that, maybe a solid core, maybe not. No probe has made it that far, and no human ever will. So the next time someone says they'd like to visit Jupiter, feel free to ask them which part exactly they'd like to visit. The part where their body collapses under atmospheric pressure, the part where they vaporize in an instant, or the part where they dissolve into metallic hydrogen soup. In total, a human exposed to Jupiter's atmosphere would survive for no more than a single second, and even that's generous. If you somehow fell into the gas giant, you wouldn't hit the ground. You just keep falling, crushed, cooked, and irradiated, until there was nothing left of you but atoms, maybe. And yet, despite being the most hostile environment imaginable, Jupiter is one of the most fascinating worlds in our solar system, a planet that could swallow over 1,300 Earths and still have room left over. A planet with a storm, the Great Red Spot, that's been raging for centuries. A planet that reminds us just how small and fragile we really are. So, while the idea of walking on Jupiter's surface might sound cool, trust me, you're much better off admiring it from afar, preferably with a sturdy telescope and lots of oxygen.